Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me here today. Dominic invited me here so that I could present to you all some of the stuff that I do with digital marketing and how it can help some of your businesses. So, first off, who am I? My name is John Cashman. I'm the owner and president of Digital Firefly Marketing. My own personal history, I've helped launch three companies, two of which were acquired successfully, one that was not. I ran a lot of the digital marketing for these last two companies, in particular Google AdWords and search engine optimization for the last one, and also did quite a bit of social media marketing. Anybody have any idea what this is? No, it's not a new-fangled plant or a new tree. What it is a graphical representation of the Earth and all the connections that exist right now on the internet. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of connectivity between all of us in the world. Anyone have any idea what this is? Well, obviously, it's the United States. What this is a graphical view of all the connections on Facebook. Where you see light is where people have the most connections. So when most of the eastern seaboard of the United States is lit up, it's people who usually like people who are fairly close to them in distance. When you start to see some of those lights go across the nation or down into Mexico or vice versa, it shows that there's connections, but there's not as many of them. This really shows you just how connected people are on Facebook and how local that is. Anyone have any idea what this is? These are your customers. Today's customer is mobile. They carry one of these in their pockets, an iPhone or an Android phone. They increasingly turn to it for recommendations for restaurants, for local business, for the nearest hardware store, and it's really replacing the yellow pages and anything else on getting information. One of the people that we follow, Amber Case, refers to these people as cyborgs. Cyborgs, of course, are computer and humans coming together. And while this isn't implanted in your brain just yet, people do certainly use it, and they certainly use it often. So what does this mean? It means that right now we are involved in a changing world. The internet is big, as we saw by that picture, and it keeps getting bigger. More and more people are coming online. More and more people are coming online with mobile. Second thing is that people are now more connected through the likes of Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Pinterest. They're more connected than they have ever been. People know what's going on in each other's lives and can see each other through things like Skype and video chats and stay much more connected. And lastly is when you don't think of the iPhone really as a phone, but really as a handheld mobile computer, and people always have them. So not only are they always connected, not only can they access the internet, but they can also use it to store things like pictures and memories. But most importantly for what you guys do, they can look for recommendations, and they can communicate those recommendations out. So, in order to understand what all of these things really mean for you, we have to kind of reverse ourselves and look back 10 years ago. A marketing plan for a small business 10 years ago really was four things. One, put an ad in the yellow pages, try to make it as big as possible. People would pick up the phone and they would give you a call. You put direct mail out. You simply bought a list and you sent it out, and maybe you offered a coupon of 50% off or a free lawn treatment or something like that, and people would give you a call. You would post flyers on pin boards, and you would buy lists and cold call people and see if they needed any help. And then finally, if you had a little bit more money, you would maybe buy radio ads, buy some TV access, or commercials on cable. But that was really about it. It was, as they refer to it, as interruption marketing. You were trying to get someone's attention from what they were doing so that they would remember you and they would give you a call. But things have changed. Today, which is actually still a little surprising, about 62% of people will still use the yellow pages once a month. So it's still a valid way of getting advertising, but it's, as people can see, it's used to be almost 100%. It's definitely slipped over the years. 44% of people, when they get direct mail, don't open it. I know from my own personal experience, when the mail comes, I look at it on my porch and I chuck it into the recycling if it doesn't concern me. 200 million people are now on what is called the do not call list, and more people are actually giving up their landlines and using their cell phones exclusively. So, you don't really have the option anymore to cold call people, and if you do, they're either not going to pick up the phone because they don't recognize you, or you can't reach them because they're on the do not call list. And as people are now doing the on-demand TV model, 86% of people will actually skip TV commercials. They'll pause TV with their DVR, maybe go get something to drink, glass of water, what have you, resume the show, and they'll actually skip through the TV commercials. So what happened? What happened? Why did things change in 10 years? Well, a few things happened. Google makes it much easier now to search for just about anything. Apple came out with the iPhone, which only happened 4 or 5 years ago, and they are able to connect people when they're on the go. Facebook launched. It's only 6 or 7 years old. It's barely as old as the iPhone. And they've connected people and brands to one another on a rather niche basis. Secondly, you actually now have some fairly good tools to easily build a website. And what this means is that back in the day, it was still much cheaper to run a Yellow Pages ad or do direct mail than to build a website. But today, you can build a fairly good website for free for very little money and by the sweat of your own brow. And lastly, email marketing tools have become quite good, and they allow for people to opt into lists that they want to receive marketing on that refer to their inbox. Now, this is a little different than direct mail, which people didn't opt into the list. People just got their addresses. This is information that people want. So what does that mean? What are the new tactics in today's world for new marketing? Well, we believe that there's 4 tactics that any business really needs to start to embrace in order to remain relevant as people and consumers are using new means to find business. The first is called search engine optimization, and what that is taking a website and giving it context so Google is able to find you, index you, and deliver those results to you, to the persons who are doing the Google search. The second is pay-per-click advertising, and that is paying Google a certain amount of money for every time they refer somebody from a Google search to your website and hopefully getting a lead either via phone call or via email. The third is social media marketing, and this is using tools like Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest to drive people to your website and having an audience outside your website that would be interested in what you have to say. And then finally, email marketing, which is gradually replacing direct mail. This is using forms on your website so that people can opt in, so that they give you permission to market back to them. So why is this important? I'm up here telling you all these things. Well, like I showed you with some stats of the old marketing, the new marketing has some stats around it that are pretty compelling. 3 billion searches are made on Google every single day. 46% of those are for products and services, and 20% of those are local. So what that means is when someone is on Google and they look for landscaping services, they'll Google landscaping services and they might add a hometown like Princeton, New Jersey. But those results will come back first with some Google searches that aren't local, but a lot with something they call Google Places that will show the different local businesses that actually offer those services. Now, 93% of the U.S. population is on Facebook. It's a lot of people. And they're all connected. The average Facebook person has, I think, almost over 200 fans. And when they're on Facebook, they spend a lot of time. 1 out of every 8 minutes is now on the internet is actually spent on Facebook. That's how people connect. It's how they get their news. It's how they stay in touch with their friends. So those are the big drivers. So let's start getting into some certain things. One thing, in order to understand search engine optimization, one of the best things to do is to learn how how Google actually is able to search and deliver those results. So a long time ago, actually only about I think 12 years ago, Larry Page is one of the founders of Google, had an idea, and what he was trying to do is map the entire internet. So his idea was to start with the Stanford University homepage and click on every link that wasn't going to Stanford. It's going outside. And that would take him to a certain number of web pages, and he'd click on all those links, and they'd take him to all other web pages, and eventually he would get a huge map of where everything was connected to on the internet, and ostensibly every internet page. So he wrote some code, and he wrote something called a spider, and it started to do that. And that's how Google was born. So today, what Google does is it starts with a number of highly authoritative sites like CNN, like New York Times, ones that are updated quite frequently. And it starts to click on the links. When it clicks on those links, it goes out to other websites and it looks at them and it says, okay, here is what this website's about. Here are the keywords on it. And what do those keywords represent? X, Y, and Z. They represent what they say. So, for instance, if you get taken from CNN off a link that says landscaping tips and you land on maybe Whole Earth's website, they're going to have certain information on that web page that Google can read so that it knows what the Whole Earth web page is about. So every time it does that, and it does it over and over again, so it'll click on Whole Earth's website, click on all those links, and go off to other websites, and so on and so forth, day in and day out. Every time it goes to a website, it does something called indexing. So it takes all the information that was on that website and puts it into the Google index. and there it stays. So when someone comes on Google and they actually search for organic landscaping tips, all of that information that was stored in the index is pulled out and displayed on the page. So another one might be landscaping services in New Jersey. So Google would go into its index, it would pull out all the results when it sees the keywords on those web pages that say landscaping New Jersey, and it'll rank them from 1 out to infinity. How it ranks them is based on a lot of factors, but one of the key factors is the amount of links going to that web page, especially around that topic, because Google considers those links to be actual references to that web page. So the first 10 results on Google are fairly important because only about 25% of people will actually go on to the next page. So as you go higher up in the rankings, the more likelihood that they'll click on the link increases. So what is SEO? So how many people have a website here? So basically, almost all of you. So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And one of the things that we like to tell people is Google is very smart, but it's not that smart. It doesn't really quite understand context. You need to tell Google what your web page is about. But you also have to think about how someone actually searches. And you think about yourself, well, how do I use Google? How do I search for things on Google? And we've found that a lot of people will search for things like top 10 lists or how-tos. So for instance, you might have a search where somebody does how to mow a lawn or how to apply fertilizer in the spring or how to plant tulip bulbs or even when to plant tulip bulbs. So all of those kind of ways of how people would actually search would be what you would want to label your pages on the internet. So you want to think about how people will actually search and then find your information. So this goes into what we refer to as website anatomy. It's Google will actually look in certain places on your website for these keywords. And the very first place that usually looks is the actual title of the page. So now, let's say for instance that you've got your website up and your page title is landscaping. Well, unfortunately what that's going to mean is that you're going to be ranked up against everybody else who's got that page title landscaping. So if someone Googles landscaping, the likelihood is that your site's going to be fairly far back in the Google searches because you're going up against the likes of like Home Depot or big landscaping companies. So you want to actually choose something like landscaping in Mercer County, New Jersey. So you want to make sure that that keyword phrase is in the title, but you might also have an image of you landscaping. So what I would say is there's something called an alt tag that goes with an image, and alt tags were developed for people who were blind and still wanted to obviously surf the internet. Well, they obviously can't see the picture, so what coders developed was a HTML tag called an alt tag that would tell them what the image was. So Google started using that in order to understand what images were, because Google can't see, so it uses those in the Google search results. So that's another way to get that keyword within the images. Another is by looking at the URL structure. So if you look at the URL structure of any page, you're going to see your business name, yourdomain.com, or let's say landscapingservices.com, / the title of the page. A lot of times you'll see with antiquated sites, they don't necessarily have that cleanness or the clean URLs we call it, but they have a lot of numbers and percentages. And Google can't make any heads or tails out of this, so unfortunately it's just a lost opportunity of the keywords. And then the last thing is the header. So when you look at number 4, there's something that's called an H1 tag. What that is a header. So if you're writing a web page, you're going to want to title your article something, and that can be the same title as the page, but it gives Google an idea, again, what the page is about. Lastly, as you get into all the content, you can actually put more and more of the same words within that article, but really the big 4 are the URL, the page title, an alt tag within the image, and the header. So, kind of a lot of information, but how do I go about looking at my own site? Well, best thing to do is look at it with fresh eyes. Look at it in terms of the website anatomy, or as we refer to it as, conduct an SEO audit. What keywords are you using? Are you using ones that are very broad, like landscaping? Or are you using ones that are fairly narrow, like the name of a plant? Another thing that we found a lot of success for in terms of SEO is to blog. And the reason we want people to blog, and we always get like, ugh, I don't have enough time. Really, the reason to blog is to, one, it keeps your website fresh, so Google keeps coming back looking for changes so they can add it to its index. The second is that you keep adding more and more content. So if you do a blog once a week, by the end of the year, you're actually going to have 52 more pages. Well, if you only have a 7-page site and you've added all those pages, you've actually almost quintupled the number of pages on your site. And then lastly is you're able to capture some of these search terms that might not have a huge amount of searches every month, but definitely have a very interested following. And that's actually referred to as long tail keywords. And essentially it's writing articles about how-tos, like how to plant tulip bulbs, how to set up a rain barrel, things like that. So the other thing is, once you have these blogs, you don't want to let them just sit there and not do anything. Essentially be orphaned. You want to take those blogs and actually post them on Facebook and Twitter so that the audience on Facebook and Twitter that follow you are actually able to see the blog and click over to your website. So that's a really pretty general term about search engine optimization. So the second tactic that we use is pay-per-click. So one thing that wouldn't come as a shock is that Google makes an obscene amount of money. I think it was about $7 billion last quarter. How they make their money is through pay-per-click advertising. So every time someone searches for something, on the left, as you can see with this picture, they get what they call organic results. These are the best results that Google feels are pertinent to your search. And that could be your past history, it could be your IP address of where you are, it could even possibly be the weather based on that IP address. Google freely admits it has about 50 cues as it refers to them to show those search results. On the search engine marketing side, which is on the right in red, that is people bidding on those keywords, those searches, so that they can get that traffic. So as someone clicks on them, they pay Google a fee for referring the traffic to their website. And these keywords can range anywhere from 50 cents to upwards of 20, 30, 40, $50. They're can be extremely expensive, but they're extremely targeted when a person searches. So this is an excellent way of using Google to drive traffic to your website, but at the same time it can be expensive and it can be low quality traffic if you don't really know what you're doing. And our advice here is to set a small radius in terms of where your business is. Choose the keywords that you use on your website already today, and set a daily budget that you want to spend. Google is very good at spending that amount of money every day. And then lastly is if you talk to them, they will almost always give you $100 for free so you can get started with using AdWords. So that brings us to social media marketing. So why Facebook? Why should your business have a business page on Facebook? And the simple reason is that Facebook is the #1 website for referring traffic over. And what we mean by website referrals is there's 3 ways to get traffic to your website. The first is via search, so either Google or Bing. Someone searches, they see the result, they click on it, they land on your website. Another is direct, and what that means is they know the URL already, and they enter it, and it could be Bob's Landscaping Service. They enter it, they hit the enter button, and they arrive on your website. And then lastly is a referral. So anytime someone puts out a link and your website's display, and they click on that link, they're referred over. So Facebook is actually the #1 website referral, simply because of the amount of audience they have. So they have 750 million members worldwide. 93% of the U.S. population is on it right now. And so what you do on Facebook is you start to build an audience so that every time you blog or every time you have a status update, people are able to see it, and they're able to click on the links that you put up, which are almost usually your own, and they go down to your website, and hopefully you can have them pick up the phone and call you. So that leads us into the #2, which is actually a newcomer to the field, and it's called Pinterest. And what Pinterest is an online pin board. So people go on and they place pins on Pinterest, and they people actually get referred from those pins. And the way it works is you put up a picture and it's got a URL behind it, and people click on it and they get referred over to your website as they click on it. So people follow those items, they follow those pins of people that they find interesting, and then they get referred to that website. So I do a lot of pins on website design, on good social media practices. For my own site, for myself, I do pins on stuff that I think is funny, good video, recipes that I want to try, pictures I find interesting. My wife does a lot of pinning on recipes, pictures that she finds cute.
Outfits are always very big on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Clothing.
Clothing's huge on Pinterest, but actually gardening's actually getting a lot bigger, and I would expect in the spring it's going to get even crazier because most of the traffic with Pinterest is still U.S. based. So they're actually the #2 refer. They actually drive more traffic than YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter combined. So they've actually, and they're fairly new. So if you haven't heard of them, don't worry about it, because they only really started to grow back in December.
A couple of my friends on Facebook that are doing Pinterest,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like on it constantly.
Yep.
It's like a magazine. It's like reading a magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of looked at it as window shopping the internet. So everybody, and it's great. It's awesome for people who are doing boutique stuff. So again, it's like what I would do is if I were in your guys' shoes, is look at your website. Everybody's got pictures, designs that they've done, plants that are in stock, and create a Pinterest board. You can do it from your Twitter login or from an email, and start to pin different things on there that you think are kind of unique. Because once you start to get followers, they start to repin it to their boards, and their followers see it, and they start to repin it, and that's how stuff gets real viral real quick. My wife actually pinned something on a board, and within, I think 20 minutes, it had been repinned 24 times. So it gets real viral real quick if somebody finds something that's interesting. My stuff's usually pretty kind of boring because it talks about social media and things like that. But when people are looking for gardening ideas and spring designs, they're going to start going to Pinterest a lot more because, again, it's a window shop on the internet. It's looking at a catalog of some pretty cool designs of how I want to do something maybe in my garden. How do I want to do a window box? What plants would I use? How do I want to do a bed of vegetables this year? Where would I put the tomatoes?
Would you do a before and after shot of a house?
Oh, absolutely. Those are great.
You can do split screens.
Yeah, I would definitely do a before and after. It would be like, here's this house, do it, one here, one over on the right, split down the middle, and, here's what we've done. So, the more pins, kind of the better.
That's a good question. Here's, I guess, my question about Facebook and something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Our company is strictly a wholesale company, so
Mm-hmm.
we don't deal with retail customers, homeowners, etc. How do we effectively use something like Facebook or Pinterest to promote us? Because
Mm-hmm.
we kind of have to shelter from the masses. I mean,
Right.
we already get a lot of calls in from people when they go to a plant sale. They'll see our
Mm-hmm.
tag name, they'll call, and we can't deal with them.
Right. So I think the best way is still following these kind of strategies because for wholesale, you want to get to the people who are landscapers, right? So for most people who do B2B, we always recommend use LinkedIn. There's probably a group on LinkedIn that's Landscapers Association of America. But look at still those same things, but trying to figure out that audience. So what how-tos would someone like this guy over here, what would he be interested in reading about of how does he source plants? So I would look at what search terms your audience is going to go and do and put those on your website. Where Facebook and Pinterest help is getting more links onto your webpage so that you appear higher in the search rankings than some other wholesaler. So that's why you kind of do these kind of Facebook and Pinterest. It's really for the links. So I'm in the same boat. I only sell to other companies. I don't sell to Joe Consumer. A lot of people who follow me on Facebook are, people, but the more traffic I get, the more links that people get to my website, the more likely it is that someone who's at another business, when they Google social media marketing, will land on my page. So you can't really stop consumers from still contacting you, but you can make it more probable that the right audience will find you.
But couldn't you have it too where the nurseries that you sell to, you can find this plant at?
That's something we're looking to do.
And you can also you can have it installed by,
Yep.
Because the nurseries that you sell to, it would also help them sell more stuff because people would be going there.
That's definitely something we're talking about, but it's funny because I go to some of these sessions with the social media, and we are having a difficult time understanding, like everyone keeps saying, you got to go on Facebook, you got to do this, and I don't see how that's going to benefit us. We already get...
Well, it'll benefit too because if they see the plants that you have, they'll ask the garden centers that they...
Well, right now we have been getting a lot more...
So-
we've been coming up high on the search results on many things because we have some unique plants.
Right.
So people will come to us and then we send them off in the right direction. But I don't know as a whole, like as a social media plan, how to make something like this or Facebook.
Well, as I do this with a lot of companies, the whole idea of Facebook and Pinterest is to drive traffic to your website. Everybody's like, they use terms like brand awareness and, brand remembrance and all engagement, all that stuff. But really, at the end of the day, it's driving traffic to your website. So for any company, either B2B or B2C, the more traffic you get to the website, kind of the better. And it's really converting those people into quality leads. So if, do you have an e-commerce store? Do you have something that people can then go in and create an order who are actually, in the nursery business? So that's kind of one of those things, like when you think about this marketing, what do you want the end goal to be? And for some people, it's like I want them to pick up the phone and call me. For other people, I want them to buy something in my e-commerce store. For other people, it's like, I want their email address. That's where you kind of have to start, is what's the end goal? And then that way you can work backwards and say, Facebook's going to get this to me by X, Y, and Z. So if, for instance, you want people to call you, all that stuff, getting them on your website and then actually funneling them into that contact us is probably the best way to do it. If you want people to buy on an e-commerce store, put up in those products and driving them to the store is the other way you'd want to do it. So
you should, for the B2B type scenario, and I would consider the association sort of like,
mm-hmm.
I'm interested in talking to other businesses.
Yep.
That,
so like
shouldn't get consumed with how many people like
no.
me. I want the right people to like me so
right.
they see my messages, but it's more about, even if I only have 50 fans, but I'm producing that content and building those bridges between my website and my Twitter and everything else,
yep.
it's still helping me.
Oh, it's helping you a lot. Like, for instance, the fertilizer thing that you guys were just talking about, that would be a perfect blog article. Because people are going to be confused by it, they're going to Google it, and hopefully they'll end up on this. And then when you're on a website, we always look for people to convert, either become a Facebook fan, follow you on email list, or buy something. So, going back to Facebook. What is it? What is Facebook? Well, Facebook, for a lot of companies, is building an audience. So, for instance, my company right now has almost 1,500 fans. Well, how did I get 1,500 fans? It seems like an absurd number. Well, to be completely honest, they're either friends of mine that I knew from before, they came to my website and they hit the Facebook button, or, which is probably about 80% of them, I bought them. And how did I do that? Well, I went on Facebook, I bought an ad, I said, like Digital Firefly Marketing if you want to learn about SEO and social media, and they hit the like button, and they followed me. So that's how you start to build an audience, is you start to offer content, you start to run an ad on Facebook, and slowly but surely, over time, now I run my ad for $10 a day. For other people, I do about $5 a day. But it's actually a fairly cheap way of actually building an audience that you can actually target. So for instance, if you're targeting people who own landscaping, what I would tell Facebook when I bought the ad was, I'm only interested in serving this ad to people who either are a small business owner, but are part of, like, say, the NJNLA, or who are in New Jersey and list landscaping as their career. And what Facebook will do is they'll serve an ad, and it'll say, follow me, and et cetera, et cetera. That's how Facebook makes its money. They serve ads to people on a very targeted way. So, for instance, I target people who have liked other social media marketing companies. I run ads for people, for instance, a restaurant that does organic vegetarian food, who are vegetarians and only like organic and are located in a certain zip code. So it actually can get fairly niche audience of trying to build this audience. So what else is it? It's the first place most people go to get their news every day. People boot up their computer, and one of the first places they go is Facebook. So, and it's very personal. It's like, here's what people did with their day. Here's where they went out. Here's pictures of my baby. But for a business, you don't want to actually kind of be their friend. So what do you give them? Well, what I tried to do is give them status updates. For like what I did today is I said, I'm going to the NJNLA to do a presentation. There's going to be a video later. I've written stuff as dumb as I love Fridays. Actually got a lot of likes and comments. People like that stuff because when you think of it on Facebook, you're not actually marketing to them. You're trying to converse with your customers. That's kind of the thing that everybody gets a little mixed up about. About every 3 or 4 posts on Facebook, I'll throw up my blog and stuff like if they're following I'll use the New Jersey Landscape Association, they're going to be interested in stuff like how-tos. They're not going to be interested in join this and give me your money. The best metaphor that I've heard recently on social media is a big cocktail party. So you think of yourself at a cocktail party. Am I going to be that guy who comes into the room and says, give me some money, or hey, can I borrow $10? No, you're going to be guys like, hey, how's it going? Oh, by the way, I started my own company. Oh yeah, yeah, I do gardening. Oh, you want to know how to plant a rose bush? Oh, well, here's a nifty how-to. So it's really kind of building that rapport with people so that they actually think of you as a trusted way. And then as they get more comfortable, you can start to do, oh, by the way, we sell rose bushes. So they get that level of comfort with you that they might not get from some other companies. And then the general rule of thumb is post once a day. And like I said, it can be pretty innocuous. It could be, hey, we're doing this job, or hey, I just finished a design, or all the cool rose bushes just came in today, stuff like that. Because people, again, it's information that people are getting that they find useful, and they want to actually either spread or share, or it's news to them. I mean, I think it would be kind of cool if, like, I got a new thing from Timothy saying, hey, all the sod came in today. Oh, like Tuesdays are sod day. I can go and get the fresh sod before it actually, wilts in the sunshine. So that's kind of Facebook. Websites. So when I look at a website, one of the ways that I look at it is it needs to be sticky. A lot of people will put up websites and they're referred to as brochure websites. It's just a big brochure. One of the things that we try to strive for when we do a website for people is we want that people to come to the website and do what we refer to as a conversion event. That's either they become a fan on Facebook, they follow you on Twitter, they give you an email, or they buy something. And you can convert them into leads in a number of ways. One would be the usual contact us. Well, typically we see only about between 1% or 3% of people who go on the website will actually go to contact us. A lot of them will go, look at the form, then go away. So one of those strategies that we've come up with is we'll actually tell people, like, look, come up with 5 how-tos guides or 5 PDFs that people would want to download. Put an email form in front of it and a little checkbox saying, yeah, I'd like to have more information, and get their email in exchange for that PDF. That email then goes into a server so that then you can go and market back to them because you have their permission. That usually has a much higher conversion rate for people than just a big contact us form. Again, it's trying to get that brand awareness going so that people think of you as a trusted partner rather than I'm trying to sell them something all the time. And that kind of gets into the email marketing. One thing that we do is we set up automated emails for people. So you've converted them on your website. You've got them to do this. So you've come up with these 5 how-to guides. How to plant a bed, how to use a rototiller, how to mow grass effectively, etc., etc. So MailChimp is the service that we use. MailChimp, there's 2 big email platforms that people use today. Constant Contact's one and MailChimp is another one. We use MailChimp just because we consider it a superior service. They use something called autoresponders. What you can tell MailChimp to do is, this person came onto the website, they downloaded this form. In 2 days, I want you to send them an email that says, hey, you downloaded the How to Mow Your Grass Effectively PDF. Might be interested in how to plant a rose bush. Then you can tell MailChimp, okay, in 7 days, I want you to send them a 3rd email saying, how to spread fertilizer. And then in 14 days, you can say, hey, you've got these last 3 PDFs, might be interested in the how to plant a boxwood bush. So again, you start with content, 5 different pieces of content, and set up a autoresponder that every few days starts to send them an email. You can make this as simple or as complicated as you want because MailChimp's just going to send out the emails. Stuff that I would probably be interested in as a gardener would be email reminders of when to plant things. Tomatoes are always the one that crack me up because you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, you see the tomatoes out there, it's 45 degrees, and people buy them and they wonder why the tomatoes died in their yards. So stuff like that for people who aren't necessarily have your expertise would be awesome to get those emails. And then, of course, all those emails have links that either take you to their website so they can buy the tomatoes, or take it to the website so they can get more information. And again, to get them to on your website, they can call you, they can email you, etc. So new rules. All marketing should lead to your website. So anything that you guys do out there, Facebook, Twitter, emails, should always try and funnel into your website so that they actually contact you, they send you an email, they call you on the phone. All the marketing should be measurable. In the old world, you had no idea how many people looked at your Yellow Pages ad. You had no idea how many people threw out direct mail. You might have had an idea of how many people listened to your radio spot, but it wasn't exact. Well, Google with Google Analytics will tell you all of those exact things. They'll tell you how many people came from Facebook, how many people came from Pinterest, how many people came from your email. That gives you an idea of you're paying someone like me, a few $1,000s a month to do this. Is he actually generating a few $1,000s a month in sales? Because if it's not, then why are you kind of paying for it? So again, all marketing should generate sales. That's one of the things that we look at to do a return on investment is you're paying me a certain amount of money per month to write blogs, to post on Facebook. Is that actually generating sales? So, a lot of information. How do you start? One of the best places to start is with Google Places and Yelp. Google Places, you can register your website, you can register your name. It'll appear in the Google local results. Probably take you 10 or 15 minutes to do, but it's really good because when someone Googles something locally, you'll see that first result, and then you'll see all of the local results, and then you'll see more. That's the Google Places. That's really kind of the Yellow Pages or White Pages that Google uses when they do Google results. Yelp is the same way. Register your business. People search Yelp for local businesses. There's a host of other ones out there, but those are the two big ones that people will use to find local stuff. Look at your website. Does it need an overhaul? I mean, look at the keywords. Look at, do you have a blog? When you look at the URL, is it a gamish of numbers and letters, or does it actually have the keywords in place? It's one of those things that you can do it. You can do it yourself over an afternoon. You can pay someone. You can certainly pay me. I'm happy to do it. I am a little on the more expensive side, but in the big wide world that is now flat, you can use services like Elance and Freelancer that people in India and Bangladesh will look at your website, SEO it, a couple $100 to do it, but they almost always do a pretty good job. Once you're done with your website, because all the traffic is going on there, so if you don't have that foundation built, there's really no point to start doing Facebook and blogging and all that kind of stuff until your website's solid. You can start to do the advanced stuff. Start to do blogging, doing Facebook, doing Pinterest. Because if you start with Pinterest and people start landing on your website and there's no contact form, then why are you doing Pinterest? So it's always good to start with the foundation of what it is, the website, and then start to branch out into better marketing. And then the other thing is like, don't start to you start and then you stop in a month because you didn't see any website traffic go up. This strategy takes 3 to 6 months. That's what we tell all of our clients. You shouldn't expect massive amounts of Google traffic on day 3. It's going to take 90 to 120 days. So my company is 6 months old. We launched our website. The first day I think we got 3 visits. Yesterday we got 45. Because over time we've built up a ton of content on our website. And I'll show you guys real quick kind of what I mean.